الحمد لله رب العالمين حمد عبادي الذاكرين الشاكرين وصلي وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين ثم أما بعد. Just a short reminder about the day of Arafah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, there is not a day where Allah frees, the Prophet ﷺ, he said about Allah, there is not a day that Allah frees more slaves than He does on this day. Now that doesn't mean that this is the only day throughout the whole year which Allah frees slaves. Allah frees slaves throughout the whole year and even in Ramadan. However, this is the most day throughout the year in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala frees His slaves. And then in the hadith's beautiful part, and then Allah draws near in a way that is befitting of His Jalal and of His Majesty. He draws nearer to His servants because He wants to be in their presence. He wants to see them and be with them and make them feel that He is closer to them. And He says to His angels, I make you bear witness, my slaves. They came to me. All what they want is my forgiveness and my content. This is the first hadith. The second hadith, يوم عرفة من يوم ملك سمعه وبصره ولسانه غفر له ذنبه. On the day of Arafah, whoever controls what they hear, what they see, what they say with their tongue, Allah forgives them completely. And we're not just talking about haram things as in the opposite gender. We're talking about everything. From social media, to wasting time, to commercials, to frivolous talk, etc. Number 3, صيام عرفة يكفر سنة قبل وسنة بعد. Fasting the day of Arafah expiates the sins of the year before and the year after. Number 4, the Prophet ﷺ used to make dua on the day of Arafah from Dhuhr all the way to Maghrib. From Dhuhr all the way to Maghrib. Of course, every person knows how much they can actually do that. And so they always say, infuse the day with different deeds so that you do not get bored and you keep on doing dua. And when you're not doing specific dua, and you're not making dua from the Quran, or you're not doing dua of the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and you should have booklets and pamphlets and search for them online. There are numerous, over hundreds of du'as you can make that are sahih. You should then engage in La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulku lahul hamdu wa ala kulli shay'in qadir. And also you can say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. You can also say, Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika lak, labbaik. You can say these three constantly throughout the day. The Prophet ﷺ said, the best of dua of myself and all the prophets that came before me was La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said is one of the best dua that all of the prophets said. And so on that day, if you're not sitting down and you're focusing on your dua, then you make that dua. So just a structure for how we're going to do dua for the next hour. First, you make dua of the Prophet ﷺ. Find the sunnahs of what the Prophet ﷺ used to make. What du'as he used to say for his dunya? What dua did he used to make for his akhirah? What dua did he used to make for his loved ones? What dua did he used to make for hard times, for good times, etc. The second, you take du'as from the Quran. The dua of Sayyidina Yusuf, dua of the Noon, dua of Shu'aib, dua of Lut, etc. Number 3, you make specific dua for your deen and for your dunya and for your akhirah. And you make the opposite of it. What does that mean? First of all, and I don't believe that there is something called deen and dunya. Alhamdulillah, the ummah is where it is today because we actually think that there is deen and there's dunya. There is no deen and dunya. Dunya is a KPI, it's a key performance indicator of how much deen you have in your heart. How you think, how you walk, how you talk, how you eat, how you spend, how you hold your money, how you make money, how you change your career, what career you go into, how you give advice, how you take advice, how you forgive, all of these, how you become an enemy, how many limits you put to who's your enemy and how can you be an enemy. All of these things is deen. There is no such thing as dunya. But dunya is just the arena which you are in. But anyway, deen, there are very clear ahadith, there are very clear du'as that you make which state what you want for your deen. You want Allah to help you in your prayer, to be khasha in your prayer. You want Him to help you with Quran. You want Him to help you with taqwa, etc. Dunya, you want Him to help you with your job. You want Him to help you with your spouse. You want Him to help you with your family who are being very resistant against you changing and becoming a more religious person, etc. And the akhirah, and you want to go to Jannah, you don't want the fire to touch you, you don't want your sins to be a reason for you going into fire, you don't want to have an atom's worth of kibr, of arrogance in your heart, and so all of your deeds will be annihilated and you go to hell because of that atom of mustard seed of kibr, per the hadith. And then you make the opposite. Yani Allah give me Jannah and take me away from hell. Allah give me humbleness, make me a person who's humble, and take away kibr. Make me a person who give me halal rizq, and make me spend in your way, and don't make money a source of fitna for me. You see what I mean? It's comprehensive. It's comprehensive. And when you're taking a break for whatever reason, you're answering the phone, you're doing something, you keep on saying, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu, lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu wa ala kulli shay'in qadir. There's no Allah but Allah, to Him is all dominion. And to Him is all praise, and He is over everything capable. And then you say, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. By the way, this dua, we say this because when Sayyidina Ibrahim was going to slaughter his son, Sayyidina Ismail, when Jibreel came down, Jibreel was saying, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And then Sayyidina Ibrahim said, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. And then Sayyidina Ismail said, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. So we take all three and we say all three. We say what Sayyidina Jibreel said, we say what Sayyidina Ibrahim said, we say what Sayyidina Ismail said. Khalas? And then the last thing, and I'm going to repeat the first few pieces of advice, the first 4 advice before dua, but now we're on point number 6 for those who came late. Point number 6, one of the sunnahs that the scholars said it should be done for those who are not attending Arafah on the day is what they call ta'rif al-ansar. It means Arafah, the word Arafah, it means to know. Ta'rif is to get to know. So you are putting yourself in this process of feeling and being part of Arafah by doing something that the people of Arafah do, because you're not at Arafah. And the scholars used to say one of the best things you can do is actually do i'tikaf in the mosque. So you can stay in the mosque up until Maghrib. However time you have, whatever time you can do for, whatever it is you can do for. But you stay in the mosque just like they are staying on the mountain up until Maghrib. You stay in the mosque in solitude and you make dua up until Maghrib. It is a way of putting yourself in the same mood as they are. Just like we don't cut our nails, we don't cut our hair if we're going to have an udhiyah or a qurbani on the day. Why? It's to feel the same that they're feeling. And when you see yourself and you're messy and you feel like, I want to cut my nails and I want to cut my hair, it's just to show you that you're just a slave. Everything that comes out of you is not clean. Yani one of the scholars, they said what comes out of the ear, the nose, the eyes, all of it is not clean. All the liquids that come out of your skin, everything that comes out of your being is not clean. This is the state of a slave. This is the state of the body. We are reminding ourselves that we are taking the covenant back on the day of Arafah. We're going back to our state of soul and saying to Allah, Ya Allah, we're here. We came back to what we were. Don't let this dunya get to our hearts. And we are trying to see it for what it is. And that's why they wear their ihram as well. And you're not even allowed to wear anything that could tell the other person next to you that you are richer than them or less. Yani if you have an expensive watch, you shouldn't wear it when you're doing your ihram. You're doing your umrah. Or you're doing your hajj. Because people will know what status you are. That's it. On this day, hajj is an emulation of the last day of Yom al-Qiyamah. Everybody's going to be equal. Everyone's going to be naked on Yom al-Qiyamah. We come with the ihram. You cannot tell who is rich and who is not on that day. It's over. This is exactly what it is. So these are just a few advices we can do before Maghrib. I'm going to repeat the first 4. The first is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, there's not a day in the year that Allah frees slaves of hellfire as this day. And Allah draws nearer. وَإِنَّهُ لِيَدْنُو. Just like in the third part of the night He comes down to answer all of our calls. Those who do Qiyam al-Layl in the last third of the night, He comes down in a way that is befitting of His Majesty, and He asks, who is asking for forgiveness so I can forgive him? Who is asking of my bounty so I can give it to him? He comes closer down on this day. This is the only day in the year which He comes down closer. Just like He does in every third of the night, this is the only day He comes down closer. And He says to His angels, look at my slaves, they've come only to ask for my forgiveness. I bear witness to you that I have forgiven them. And so we ask for forgiveness. We do tawbah on this day. This day is the day of tawbah. We are going back because Allah said, the Prophet said, Siyam Yom Arafah, yukaffiru sana qablaha wa ba'daha. The fasting of Arafah expiates the day before and the day after. And therefore we ask Allah, because He is giving us this expiation of a year before and a year after, that we follow it up with true, sincere tawbah from our hearts, from everything, from the small sins and the big sins. Sit kida, and just like you do tasbih with your hand, use your fingers to count. I do this, that, this sin. usually throughout the year, usually in these seasons or at this time or in these situations, and make istighfar and tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for Him to help you to not do these sins. This is the first and the second hadith. The third hadith, on this day, the best thing you can say is La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulk wa lahul hamd wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. If you are not constantly doing dua, this is the best thing you can say on this day. I'm just trying to remember the fourth point that we made. Yeah. And I think that's it. I think that is it. But for this is the reminder, inshallah, between now until Maghrib, let's increase in our du'as. Like I said, let's break it down like this: dua for your dunya, dua for your akhirah, dua for your deen, and the opposite of it, so it can be holistic. Make dua for yourself, make dua for your loved ones, make dua for your family, and it's not a waste of time. There's an angel that said every time you make dua for someone, that angel stands next to you. He says Ameen, and you have the same. And it makes dua for you. And most importantly, let's make dua for our brothers and sisters in Gaza. Let's not forget our brothers and sisters in Gaza. And please, for those of you who gave out your qurbani, may Allah bless you, may Allah increase your money. If I were you, let's all try to come together in groups and pay a small amount so we can send a qurbani or udhiyah to Gaza. Obviously, the qurbani in Gaza is over £500. It's between 530 to 580, depending whether you go with the website SKT Welfare or I think with Human Appeal. I can't remember the second one. But it's very expensive. So if you want, maybe you can pay 20 and you can all tell all of your friends, you can come together and pay one udhiyah for Gaza. They are the most deserving in the whole world now, them and our brothers and sisters in Sudan and the rest of the world. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our deeds on this day. We ask Him to give us tawfiq on this day. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give the highest of ranks to our brothers and sisters in Gaza and to give them the strongest of iman and ihsan. And one last thing. Man وقف بعرفة ثم غدر وظن أن لم يغفر الله له فقد أعظم على الله الفدية. يعني if you stand on Arafah and you leave thinking that Allah did not forgive you, you have done a great sin with Allah. Similarly, if on this day you're making dua, and this is one of the reasons why sometimes we're a bit slow to make dua sincerely or from our heart or to keep on doing it. We found laziness. If you make dua and you think that Allah will not answer, or you believe that He will not answer, or you don't have conviction that He will answer, this is a grave sin. Do not do this. When you ask, Allah answers. And He answers. How He answers, when He answers, what method does He use, through whom, duration, all of these things are in His knowledge. We do not get to tell Him what to do, but He has promised that He will answer. So we are asking Him now, not because we are wondering will He give or not, or because if we don't ask Him He will not give. No, because He will answer. But we are establishing the love relationship we have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that nobody gives us like you. Not our parents, not our spouses, not our kids. No one loves us and gives us like you. And so we want to keep on asking because you love to keep on hearing from us, and because we love to keep on asking you because we know you will never say no. And you will say yes in the best way. Some people, they say yes, they give you what you want, but it will lead you to your perishment. But Allah never gives you something unless it's good for you, if you have tawakkul, full tawakkul in Him, and you don't defy His decree. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لكم. I say this and I seek forgiveness for myself and for all of you. Thank you for tuning in. Eid Mubarak everyone. Inshallah we make it to tomorrow, and may Allah accept our prayer. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.